All right, let's start with part B here. I started working on it already and I had an issue, so I'm going to start right here. I've already figured out what h prime of x is. All right, so I went ahead, took the derivative of each of these functions and just wrote it out over here. Now I'm going to go ahead and find the second derivative here. Okay, so the second derivative here, if I take that, it's going to be 2 when x is less than -1, and g double prime of x when x is between 11 and -1. All right, now before we get into all of this, what I would suggest you do is figure out how all the derivatives relate to each other. So for instance, here we've got h of x. Now, h of x is obviously h of x, okay? But if we take the derivative of h of x, okay, that's going to equal the derivative of g of x for this portion of the domain values. Okay, so h prime of x is going to equal g prime of x, and g prime of x, if you think about taking the derivative over here, okay, the derivative of g prime of x, like this is essentially, I hate putting it like this, but it essentially cancels, and you're left with just the f of x function, which means that h prime of x is equal to g prime of x, which is equal to f of x. So if we go ahead and take the second derivative now, h double prime of x is g double prime of x, which is going to equal f prime of x. And that will be really helpful in figuring this problem out. All right, so first we've got to figure out h double prime of -2. Now this one's easy. When you figure out h double prime of -2, -2 falls in this domain value set. All right, so all we have to do is plug it in, and there's no x to actually plug it into, so we just end up with 2. All right, so we've got one of our values. All right, we've got to find h double prime of 2. Now, h double prime of x is equal to f prime of x, which means that that's equal to f prime of 2. And this graph is f. So we know that f prime represents the slope. So if we go to 2 and look at the slope there, all we can say is that the graph is decreasing there. So we know it's going to be some negative number. We have no idea what the slope is there, okay? But we just know it's going to be a negative number because it's decreasing here, okay? All right, now for h, let's see, h double prime of 10, all right, same idea. That's going to equal f prime of 10, all right, which means that we're going to go over here and look on the graph at 10, and because it's changing directions there, we know that the slope is going to equal 0. So when you order these from smallest to largest, okay, we're going to have that the smallest is going to be the negative. All right, so that's going to be h double prime of 2. Okay, and then the next largest one is going to be the 0, which is h double prime of 10. And then the next one is, the last one is the largest, is going to be h double prime of -2. And I just saw that's not on the screen, but that's all I had written down here. All right.